Is it working this time? I guess I'll wait a few, at least until somebody gets on before I start talking, since I already started talking in one before this and it shut off on me. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. We're at 22 seconds. I'll wait for 30 seconds in and see if it will work. All right, 30 seconds in. This is Jax the Abrasive coming on because I wanted to talk to you all about posting here on MaM Gossip. We are getting a lot of messages about people being attacked just for posting their opinion here. We're done with that, okay? So what we're going to do is, first time we see somebody attacking somebody, we're going to just delete your comment. Second time, we're going to mute you. And then third strike, you're out. We're going to kick you out of here. If a post is put on here, all posts have to be approved by an admin or a moderator. So we've approved it to be here. So you may not like what that thread is about. You don't have to post in it, all right? You don't have to attack the person for what they posted. We get new people every day. Not all of you have been around Making a Murderer since it first came out. So I'm sure none of you would like it if when you first started looking into Facebook groups and somebody made fun of you for your opinion or your question because, oh, we went over that 2 years ago. You're all supposed to be supporters here and on the same side, right? So we're not saying everybody has to agree here. And you can say that you don't agree with something, but argue the facts. Don't attack the person. Don't tell the person you're fucking stupid for thinking this. Oh, and Christy is saying the latest battle started over someone's profile picture. All right, and I did get a message to Stephen Avery Project of somebody that was being attacked and accused of being a fake because their Facebook page is locked down or they don't have a picture of themselves. You don't know everybody's lives. So you don't know the reason why they don't have their picture up on their profile or that their profile is locked down. We're not going to be able to prevent all fakes or all guilters from sneaking in here. You know, when we uncover them, we boot them. But we're not going to go on I'm not even going to say that word. We're not going to go search out everybody's Facebook pages. You know, we're not like the family groups who will only allow you in if you open up your page so they can see everything. And we're not doing that here. We mostly approve you unless a membership looks like it could be fake. Obviously, we don't catch everybody. They still get in, because people have no lives and their only purpose is to come here and troll around. Okay? So, but I'm tired of seeing all these adults arguing like kids and everybody getting hurt over, this one called me a meanie or, that's not exactly what happened. But so if you don't agree with somebody's post, you can say, well, I see why you're saying you don't think it's Bobby, but here's why I think it is. Not, oh my God, you were so stupid. Everything's there. It's Bobby, blah, blah, blah. You must be a guilter. Because people have a reason to think it's not Bobby. They can think it's Ryan Hilgas. The only thing we don't approve here is if you're going to say Stephen or Brendan. So go ahead and discuss your theories. And you shouldn't be attacked for your theory. And if you are attacked, don't take the troll bait and argue back. And trust me, it's hard for me as well because I like to duke it out with people. And I'm attacked a lot. If you've been around a while, you see I'm attacked all over the place by so many people, and I want to just charge in there and go at them. But when you argue with an idiot, you're the idiot, right? So look at it that way. So if somebody attacks you, click to report their post, and then an admin or a moderator will check it out. And then we're going to either, as I said at the start, we're going to delete that comment, will be the first shot. Second time, we'll mute the person. Third time, 3 strikes, you're out. We're going to kick them out of this group if they just can't behave. If you don't like somebody's post, like I know we had somebody talking about like psychics, or somebody had a dream of something, and that's not your cup of tea, simply skip that thread. How is it so offensive to you that you then have to go attack those people? Be a grown-up. I really don't want to hear about this anymore, of people getting attacked. When I first started on the internet, and I'm old, I'm 47 years old. I'm an old lady. So when I first got on internet, I went into a chat room or whatever, and I posted my thoughts on what this topic was. And from there, I had somebody find out where I live and all. I mean, it was crazy. So one, this is why I totally understand people locking down their Facebook profiles and have no issue with it. And two, I know what it's like that I was like, oh my God, this is horrible, that I'm being attacked for just saying I thought such and such, and it was a TV show. It's not even, the biggies like politics or religion or anything like that. It was a TV show. And for somebody to come after me like that. And so it made me leery and not want to be online and post anything. So I get it. And I get not, you see somebody's post. I do it even here on Gossip. There are posts that I look at and I'm like, oh my God. I approve it and move on with my life. Because not everything on MaM Gossip has to be to my liking. Other people will like it. You have to think of the bigger picture. Here, let me scroll down and see if anybody has anything that's talking about that issue. Yes, Christy has posted in here. She's one of our moderators, and she says, report it, tag us, or message us. Yeah, so don't get into a debate. Tattletale. Be a tattletale. If the whole thing's going to be childish to begin with, be a tattletale and let us know what's going on. Right. And Mike says, if you don't want to see a post, you can hide it from the timeline. Then just move on. Everyone has different theories and opinions. Just be civil. And then here's Carrie Therese. And she's been with Stephen Avery Project longer than I have. And she works wicked hours and never sleeps. So you can tag Carrie too. So you could tag Carrie specifically. You can tag Christy. You can tag me. You can tag Patty. Those, we have other moderators as well, but these are the ones that are on full force. Tag them and we'll get it handled. Christy says we love tattletales. Feasting says, mine is a fake name photo because my ex stalks me, but my real friends know who I am. I am sure people have the similar reasons. Correct. So, and I know there are Facebook groups that won't approve you if they can't prove that you're a real person. We don't do that here. So I get it. I get wanting to be private. So you're not going to be punished for that. For the losers that have to make the dual accounts to come in here just to spy or to troll or whatever, like I said, we're not going to be able to stop them. They're always going to be here. So if you suspect it, flag it. What's the thing? See something, say something. Say something to us, not to the troll. Don't feed the troll, right? That's the big motto. Don't feed the trolls here. Can't we all just get along? Right. Lynn says, people can be mean and scary. because and I'm wearing I'm going to an event in just a little bit. That's what I've been getting. I was getting ready all morning, and then I'm getting all these messages about it, of this stuff going on that I don't even know completely what was going on, but I'm prepared for something else. But I got my bitch collar on right now. Not everybody's a bitch like me. I've got a thick skin. You can call me fat. You can call me ugly. Well, obviously by our rules here, you can't hear, but the other places that do, I really don't care. And it's not going to get me all upset, but not everybody's like me. And you never know what somebody is living through. And I know people don't like this word trigger, but it's true. You don't know what's going to trigger somebody. I'm an activist for human rights, and I always want to look out for people. And you don't know if somebody is suicidal, and just whatever you said is the trigger that's going to push them over the edge. You're not cool by picking on people who can't defend themselves or won't defend themselves. It's not cool. It's not funny. Unless it's the Avery family. Oh, I sound horrible. So yes, I'm a hypocrite because I will attack them, but I don't attack them. I attack them on facts. Carla's a thief. Earl is a bully. Those kinds of things. And I would say it directly to their face. People get really tough on the internet when you can just type something and there's no consequences for it. But there will be consequences here. So please don't pick on anybody here. I disagree with your theory because I think the evidence says this. Do that. That's acceptable. I don't want a kumbaya group. I don't like yes men. I don't want people to, because I own the page, think they have to post what I think. I don't like that because that's boring. I don't want people to disagree with me because also you never know. Somebody may have something where I go, oh, that is awesome and that makes sense and it clicks. I'm a proud flip-flopper. If somebody can give me evidence to the contrary, I will admit I was wrong and move along. So I like to see everybody's different takes on things. Please don't think, and I know there's people out there on the other pages that will say, I'm a control freak and you have to think like I think. No, that's not it at all. I just want you guys to be able to disagree in a peaceful manner. Thank you, Olivia. Bitch collar. Yeah, I got my bitch collar on. Maz, I'm just on here to address the people who we've been getting a ton of notifications today of people picking on other people. Danielle says, got a private message from Earl after John Farrick's discussion. Yeah, that's happened to a lot of people. That's what happens with the other groups. They're going to see if you say something they don't like, and then they're going to contact you, and then they're going to kick you out of the groups. Just ignore it. I know I've repeated myself a million times on that. We're not going into, this isn't a full discussion thing today. Like I said, I was just being lazy. I didn't want to type it all up because also if I type it up, it's going to end up being really long because I drag on and on and on in print way longer than I do when I'm talking, I believe. And I got things to do before I have to go to my event. Somebody else. Melinda says, everyone has a different opinion on things. It sure would be a boring world if we were all yes people. Yes. And Lorraine says, mine's real, just not a public timeline. I don't swear, but I respect others for being themselves. So I just scroll on by from someone swearing. Just an example of how you can disagree without the drama. Right, Lorraine. So, and then as for things going on here, we are working on doing another Q&A with someone from the case. I won't say who until we have that set in stone. We're going to work on getting more for the Q&A. We thought that went fairly well, except for, I guess, going along with what this whole video was about. Some people on there, since that was on the Stephen Avery Project page that is public, so you don't have to be a member to comment, we're saying some rude things and making fun of John and stuff like that. He's a writer, not a public speaker. So first of all, when somebody says a phrase all the time, it's because they're not a conditioned public speaker, and it's a nervous thing. Even with, like me, when I do these things, I say a lot. And I know from my training, I've had, because I'm president of an organization, so I've gone through president training. And see, now I just said again. It's a big thing of don't say you know, they make us do all these things of not saying and I still do it. So the guy didn't have to come on here or on Stephen Avery Project and do that, you know, take out time out of his life. Yes, he's selling a book, but still, he didn't have to take time out of his life to do that. So for people to then be making fun of him, I was appalled and embarrassed. See, I notice every time I say it too. I get it. I noticed him saying those same things over and over again, and it could be funny. And I get doing, you know, I do it all the time on things, saying, here's your drinking game. But you're posting it where he can see it. And it's just rude. And then I get that people were asking questions. I said to begin with that not everybody's questions would be answered. We went into it thinking that he was going to be able to just read your questions and ask what he wanted. But he was doing it by his cell phone, which then was being used as this, and the writing small, and he can't see it. And so then I took it upon myself I have to pay attention to what he's saying, but also was reading all the comments that were coming up and making note of your questions. And then I was asking your questions. Somebody kept posting the same question over and over again. Teresa's emails. I asked him about Teresa's emails, and he didn't answer it. So I'm not a hard-hitting journalist. I'm not going to go after him and try and make him answer these questions. He's doing it to be nice. So I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to do that. So when we have a guest in the future, please be respectful, just like I'm asking you to be to the members here. Post your questions. I will get to it if I can. If it's a question, if you're posting a question that I know he doesn't have the answer to and it's not pertinent, I'm not going to ask it. I'm not going to waste the time. You know, people were asking things that he wouldn't possibly know the answer to. You know, I said keep it to his book. So when we have guests in the future, well, what I'm going to do in the future is I will be making an event for it, and then people can post their questions in advance there. And then we'll compile all the questions, and I'll have a list of it. And then I'll be able to ask it then too. We'll still be live, and you'll still be able to post your questions in. And maybe if you've got a question that isn't already on the list, that is good. Or to be a good interviewer, you have to have follow-up questions. So maybe the person will say something, and it's like, oh, one of you posted right then a good follow-up. Then I'll ask that. But, you know, it's just all about respecting the other people. I'm scrolling through. Yeah, Lily says, I was very disappointed how rude people were being with that discussion. Well, and that's the other thing about when I do things on the Stephen Avery Project page, because that's public. That's the 181,000 people or whatever it is. So it's harder to control as opposed to MAM Gossip, that's we're at 9,000 and something in here, right? So it's easier for us to control who says what, you know, that we can ban you and get you out immediately. We can't do that there. So it's tougher, but it's the wider audience. So that's why when we get something like that, a John Farrick, we're going to do it on the public page. So it's more available to everyone, because not everybody wants to join a private group. And I get that, you know. So scrolling through your post now. Well, Danielle says, people don't need to judge others. Again, I'll be a hypocrite. I judge people all the time. You know, I say I'm not a nice person. But I'm not going to attack somebody's post on here that just has a different opinion than me. If somebody comes on and they're going to say something nasty about Stephen or Brendan or Dolores or Al or one of the admins, moderators here, then I flip the bitch switch. But what we want it to be here is you don't engage and just delete and move on. Let's not get into the nasty arguments. Carrie says, I went through and deleted all rude comments from that live with John Farrick. Yes, thank you, Carrie, because, you know, he's going to go back and look at that. You know, because we keep those up and you know, people can go back and see it. Kathleen Zellner will watch it. You know, so, you know, it's just, no, not cool. Maz says it was nice to listen to what he had to say. Right, because he's somebody who's very involved in the case. He was a journalist up in Wisconsin. He's written several true crime books. So let's, you know, just let him talk. You know, and people were posting mean things of how he was talking forever on a thing and not being able to ask so many questions. But you don't ever know what's going to develop out of it. So just let him talk. What's the big deal? That's what the whole thing's about, is for us to hear what John Farrick has to say. So just let him go. Let him go. I'm not going to say. Danielle says, you have always been very informative and I appreciate the info. I love this page because you tell it like it is. You handle yourself well. Well, thank you, Danielle. Chrissy said, I didn't notice the rude people were anyone from in here, mostly all names I was not familiar with. Right. Lorraine says, in due time, our questions will be answered. Yes. Lisa says, I think I've missed that discussion, but at the end of the day, rudeness is uncalled for. Fair enough. Everyone might not share the same views, opinions, but being rude and spiteful is out of order. No need for keyboard bashing just to cause some drama. Yes. Chelsea says, that's a great idea, Jax, and so does Melinda. Maz says, I'm sure Kathleen will answer all our questions on the 20th. Programming note, I'll make an event for the 20th. Hello, Paul. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm on the phone now, so I'm going to end this live, and I'll check in with you all later. Okay.